As we enter into the next decade of this planet, and we look at entertainment over the span of the last decade, we do see that there was a very interesting trend that took place. And that, of course, would be the cinematic universes. There were many attempts at them, some very successful, like Warner's and Marvel, especially Marvel. Warner's faltered, but still keeps going. And there's some that failed. King Arthur, even Robin Hood that came out last year was meant to be originally part of a cinematic universe. The Dark Universe from Universal. I could look, the list goes on and on and on and on and on about franchises that have failed to get off the ground. So what about the future? Where's that going to take us? Where are we going to go in regards to these types of cinematic universes set in popular, well-known franchises? Well, how about Oz? Because apparently Legendary is working on the Wizard of Oz TV series set in the world of Frank Baum's books. Now, that is actually really freaking cool, and it's one that I actually really support, and I'll tell you guys why. I love the Wizard of Oz books. I really do. I think that they are weird and they're crazy, and they're all in the public domain. They are all in the public domain, which means that anyone can take it and anyone can adapt it and remix it and make it their own thing. And it's been in the public domain since the 1980s. In fact, if you want to know one of the reasons why Disney made Return to Oz, that really trippy, dark 1985 film, it's because they had the rights to it and the rights were set to expire the next year. So they had to use it or lose it. And so they gave us this movie that is so remarkably creepy that even 30 years later, it still weirds me out to watch. And I love it. I love it. But it's such a weird movie. But if you ever wondered why there was Tin Man on Sci-Fi, why there was Emerald City on NBC, why there's been other takes on it, it's because it's all in the public domain. So Legendary is working on this from a guy named Ed Record, who worked on Jessica Jones and Now You See Me. But this currently doesn't have any kind of distribution attached to it, which is weird because Legendary is generally partnered with Warner Brothers. So who knows where that's going to go. But this is an interesting type of show. It says here, this is what the log line says. When the return of a long exiled witch brings fear, division, and war to Oz, the only hope is a servant girl who may become the most powerful and dangerous woman in the land. Now, that doesn't say that it's Dorothy Gale. That doesn't say that she's going to have Toto. It doesn't say they're going to travel to Oz. There's definitely not going to have the Ruby Red Slippers because that was an addition into the MGM film from 1939, which, look, can we just stop for a second and say for a movie that is 80 years old this year, it still remarkably holds up. I mean, you can go and watch The Wizard of Oz at any point in time and still be thoroughly entertained. For, a movie that is almost a century, 4/5 of a century old, it's still really good. So, there's a lot of lore there to pull from. There's a lot of lore in the Frank Baum books to pull from. And it's all in public domain. They just can't do whatever, can't do the Ruby Red Slippers. I think even, isn't the Yellow Brick Road a creation also from MGM? There's something else in there that's an MGM thing that won't be in the, that won't be in the series, but let's kind of speculate about where this would go, right? Where this would go probably is a streaming service, most likely, because Legendary is going to probably want to not work necessarily with television, but going to streaming will probably be the best place. And, well, Netflix is an obvious choice. It is. Netflix is an obvious choice, but as we've seen from the cancellation of the Marvel shows and a lot of other cancellations, Netflix is getting rid of content that they do not wholly own. So they do not want to have shows on there that they have to then, renegotiate with as time goes on. So they want to they're not going to do it. So the likelihood of them actually picking up the rights to this, or at least the distribution rights to this, is very, very, very small. There's possible that it could be Amazon could maybe take it, but Amazon, I think right now would maybe be the best one because of Lord of the Rings and because of Wheel of Time. Why not add in Wizard of Oz? Why not be the place for go-to long form novel adaptations for television shows? Have you heard what's going on with the Lord of the Rings writing group? They're literally like locked behind armed security with fingerprint scanners and blacked out windows. They are locked away from the world while they write this story. I'm not even kidding you. The joke I made on Twitter was, in order to write Gollum, you have to live like Gollum, essentially. So that's where we're at with that one. But Amazon could be a good one. Hulu, maybe. Warner Brothers owns 10% in Hulu. So they're probably going to be selling that out to Disney. So they're not going to have much of a stake in that, right? So maybe Hulu, probably not. But here's a weird one. DC Universe. They should put the show, and you're probably shaking your head, but they should put the show on DC Universe. I feel if they treated it like it would be a graphic novel adaptation or a graphic novel type gothic setting or something that feels like it could be a comic, but it ultimately wasn't a comic, but it's with these types of crazy over the top characters that we know from the Frank Baum books, it could work well as an original series on DC Universe. Now, DC Universe has a lot going for it right now. Titans was actually good. Doom Patrol is awesome. And they got a lot of other shows coming down the pipeline, and they don't want to like overdo it, but you never know. So my money is either on Amazon or on DC Universe. And that is a Warner Brothers owned and controlled streaming service that is just now really kind of getting itself out there and getting the fans to come on board. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen with that. But I'm definitely fascinated to see what's going to come from this. I'm more than happy to go back into the Land of Oz at any point in time, and not in a way that is just that's so stupid. You know, like Tin Man was all right. It was interesting. That one Land of Oz movie or Wizard of Oz movie that they did with that was animated in like 2014 was garbage. Oz the Great and Powerful, that was not a good movie. I'm sorry. It just wasn't very good. You know, give us some good stuff. There's good material there. If the original movie holds up 80 years later, you can tell us a good story set in the Land of Oz. Anyway, your thoughts, your opinions, let me know down in the comments below. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out. Hey, thank you so much for watching the video. I greatly appreciate it. While you're here, feel free to check out that subscribe button. You know, help the channel out. Or you can watch any of the newest videos and make sure that you're caught up to date with what's going on in Hollywood and entertainment. So that way, when you're at work tomorrow, you can wow your friends with the information you learned from watching these videos. That's right. I said it. Subscribe.